Hello everyone, welcome back to the Human Reviews channel, and today we are finally on Physical Graffiti. This is the album in the Zeppelin discography that I have been most excited for the entire series. The entire reason I started this series was to get to this album. That's no joke, that's no hyperbole. It was to get here. This album is considered a 10 out of 10 by two of the most trusted critics on YouTube, Anthony Fantano and my friend Crocky. So, I have very high expectations going into this. This album came out in 1975, 15 tracks, an hour and 22. Fucking hell, this is a long album. Yeah, this is one of their most celebrated albums, up there with Zeppelin 4. It really is this and Zeppelin 4 that are in contention for the best album in the discography. So, I am ridiculously excited to get into this, considering how incredible and how damn near perfect Zeppelin 4 is, dude. That album's amazing. Anyway, with that being said, let's just get straight into this. Track 1, Custard Pie. Houses was their best album. Houses is actually my least favorite so far. Still a great album though. They've not had any bad ones up to this point. I think I've heard this. Interesting rhythmic stuff already. Guitar effects. Pretty cool. Was not expecting that. Very simplistic solo, but it's effective. Okay. We're already halfway through this song. This song is sloppy as fuck, and I love it. This just feels like the band are so loose in the best way possible. There is just such a... the song feels like a slice of cake, you know? Where it's like, it's so sweet, there is so much density here. There is so much different shit going on, it's so full of flavor. And it's also sloppy as all hell. And that's kind of the best, one of my favorite things in rock music is when it can be this sloppy but also this effective. Yeah, this shit is great so far. These guitar effects are so impressive. Guitar effects, man, holy shit. Whoa, those fucking toms, wow. Fade out. 0 out of 10. Pretty fantastic opener. I've heard this song before, definitely. I didn't remember too much about it, but I have definitely heard this before. The song's fucking fantastic. Such a great way to open this album, especially coming after how, and I'm gonna get some shit for this, considering how, not necessarily weak, but how sort of just unimpressive the opener to House of the Holy was. Having a song that just kicks down the door like this, that's so sloppy, that's so dirty, that is just so full of such vivid flavor as this is fucking fantastic. I love the repetition in the back half there of him just saying drop down over and over again. I feel like Robert Plant's vocals have taken such a step up on this album from the previous one already. Like his vocal performance on that track is just, it has that instantly gripping factor that it did on the first handful of Zeppelin albums. Not only that, this song just has so much damn movement that it constantly feels like you're being provided something new, from the guitar effects to the cool shit that the drums are doing throughout this track. There is just so much being fed to you in just this 4-minute package. This song is a great way to start this album off. I am feeling like a 9.6. Solid 9 to start off this album. Next track we have The Rover. Guitar tone is great, yeah. The mix is really interesting here, particularly the vocals. They sound so much rawer than they do on any of their other, even the first album. The vocals sound so much rawer here, and it's definitely taken some getting adjusted to. I don't hate it. It just, It's an odd choice. I don't know how much it fits. That being said, the vocal performance is incredible. Seriously. Not too crazy on the mixing, but the performance is kind of making up for it, and just how expressive and attention-grabbing his voice is. I mean, maybe. That trend did start in the 70s, didn't it? And then Robert Plant, I guess, would have been bringing that in the late 60s, so possibly. Shit is so bouncy. Okay, the Rover, another great track. Sounds off to a pretty strong start. I will say that the main complaint I see about this album is the vocal mixing, and while I don't agree that it like ruins these songs, it definitely is a drawback. It's a little distracting at points. It's a little like, you know, Robert Plant is this big, over the top, just such a boisterous presence. I can't fucking speak on these songs, and having the mixing on the vocals sort of restraining him to the back, I think it does hold this back a little bit. I wish that Robert Plant was just a little more present in the mix. But besides that, the song itself is fantastic. His performance more than makes up for it. I think that the riffs, the solos on this, well, the one solo in the middle of the song is fucking amazing. Despite its simplicity. You know, same as the first song. This album's finding its strong suit in its simplicity so far, which is sort of how I felt about the early Zeppelin albums, is that they keep it simple, but they, due to how good they are as musicians, are able to just find their strengths within that. And I think that's exactly what they're doing here. The voice is meant to be another instrument, not really meant to supersede all the other elements of the song, in my opinion. And that's what I feel like Robert Plant did on the early albums. You know, it felt like everything was on like an equal playing field. Like, that's the same thing I love about a band like Tool, where it feels like the vocals, the guitar, the drums, and the bass, they're all right on the same level in terms of how important they are to the song. And that's how I felt about early Zeppelin albums. But here, it feels like the vocals are kind of the backing, and I'm not too crazy on that. Now, don't get me wrong, the song is still amazing. I'm doing talking about a lot of my nitpicks with the song. The song itself is fantastic. Again, the sound of this track is incredible. I love, again, just how bumpy, how funky this one is. Sort of working in some more of like the bluesy rock elements as well. I think that the pacing of the song is great. It's 5.5 minutes and it doesn't overstay its welcome at all. Yeah, all in all, it is just a great song. Just not crazy on the vocal mixing. This one, it would still get like a flat 9 for me. Still a 9 out of 10. Just the only thing that would put it up higher, potentially to that 10 out of 10. Would be just a bit of a cleaner vocal mix. Here we go, the 11-minute song. I don't think I've heard this. It's possible that I have, but I'm pretty sure I haven't. In My Time of Dying. Oh, really? I don't think Phil Collins would really work for this. Yeah, I don't think his style would match Led Zeppelin that much. Okay. One of Bonham's best drum performances. This is structurally really interesting so far. I've heard Achilles' Last Stand. That song is amazing. Oh, damn, the bass. 16ths on the hi-hat again. I mentioned that on the last album when he did that, saying that he doesn't do that too much. It's cool when he does. There's a fretless bass for this one. Cool. Whoa. Lots of interesting use of, like, changing guitar effects on this. We're at the halfway point in this song. Pretty amazing so far. I think my biggest praise for this album up to this point is that it's a nice dip back into their more experimental side after how safe they were playing it on House of the Holy. House of the Holy really felt like a massive return to the basics after Zeppelin 4, and I think that held it back a good bit. This feels like they're going right back into trying a bunch of new stuff, which is really helping it, because it makes it feel like I'm constantly being given something new, as opposed to on the previous album, it just kind of felt like retreading the same ground for a lot of it. I fucking love what the bass is doing here, dude. Whoa! Was that tempo switch? I can't tell. It sounded like there was a minor tempo switch in there. Cymbals sound amazing. I love how raw the mix is on this song. That's still pretty cool. Working in effects like that on the 70s album, that's ambitious, considering the limitations at the time. That kick is so heavy, man. Sextuplet fill, that was pretty cool. I like the way they're using multiple vocal takes to sort of add more scope to the song. Before I give my thoughts on this song, I'm getting a call from my mum. Give me a sec. Yeah, that song's pretty good. 11 minutes. Doesn't overstay its welcome. They actually do a lot with that 11 minutes. You are given so much. Holy shit. From that really weird, like super abstract beginning of the track that lasts for about 3 minutes before it just punches right in to this like galloping pace. My mum is not telling me not to do drugs. That my mum was asking me what I wanted for dinner because she's out shopping right now. God, making me lose my train of thought, damn it. The song just bursts into this fucking galloping pace. Incredibly raw, hard-hitting sound on this song. The kick is so heavy. The guitars are so fucking blaring on this track as well. Cool effects throughout too. I like what they were doing with Robert Plant's vocals on this one. It actually feels like it elevates this track. I hope you're on drugs or else this sound will not mean shit to you. This is what I said about Houses of the Holy. If you need to take a recreational substance to be able to enjoy the album, that's just a bad sign about the album. Not being able to enjoy it on its own merits, that's the album's fault. I don't do drugs, okay? I'm a clean Christian boy. I promise. And even whilst not on drugs right now, this song's pretty fucking fantastic. This album is pretty fantastic so far. Yeah, it feels like the band, after playing it very safe on House of the Holy, just jumping right back in and providing something just as substantive, something just as dense, something just as layered, and something newer than Zeppelin 4 was. This feels like just a massive leap forward for the band, and I am ridiculously impressed at how good this shit sounds, despite how raw the recording is and how much of like a rough and tumble sound it has. It's just put together in a way that is so attention grabbing and satisfying. You have to listen to the album the first time I try. No, I don't. I'm not, listen, I'm not prepared to make that big a change in my life for the sake of a fucking Led Zeppelin album. That being said, yeah, I'll give that song a 10. When you pull off an 11-minute track that's that satisfying, scratches all the right itches in my brain. You know, I like long music. I'm a big fan of Swans. So, you know, an 11-minute song I'm always going to be a little bit biased towards. Yeah, that shit was fantastic. Here we go. We talked about this a little bit last time. Houses of the Holy. Instead of having a title track on the previous album, we have Houses of the Holy on this album. I don't understand that choice. But maybe I will after that song. After this song, sorry. Here we go, House of the Holy. This one's funky as hell. Oh, really? Explains like the funkier side to this one, I guess, then. I agree. I don't think this one would really fit on Houses. Cowbell? Wow, this song's a 10, guys. It's got cowbell. Whoa. Fucking backing vocals, that's so fun. That bass tone is fucking nasty as well. Even that little guitar solo at the end was similar to something that they did on, I think it was on Houses, where it sort of had that, I don't know what you would call that effect, where it just sounds like it's like being played in like a different room. I think it works better in context there though. I think the context of the song actually helps that guitar sound at the end there for that solo. This actually works pretty well as a follow-up to In My Time of Dying. After having such a big like return to the sort of sweeping scope that you had on Zeppelin 4 on My Time of Dying, an 11-minute, such a dense, filled to the brim track. Just having one that's kind of like, you know, that's easing you down. Just a funky, fun one like this coming after that. I think it works pretty well. I think it's a nice way to sort of keep up the pace without sort of destroying the tone of the album, if that makes sense. It's not my favorite up to this point, I will say. I honestly kind of wish this song was a little bit longer. I feel like this song could have warranted maybe an extra minute or so just to... Because I feel like it could have done with just a little bit more fleshing out. I feel like that could have maybe been a little bit added on to the end there in terms of the instrumental. But besides that, when my only problem of the song is that I want more of it, it's not necessarily too bad of a thing. I give that one, I think like a 9.1, 9.2, like another low 9. Trampled Underfoot. Up next. Yo, Primus. Yeah, this one's also, again, bumpy as fuck. Not bumpy, bouncy, I guess would be a better word. Yeah, the crunge is interesting, you know? The crunge definitely exists. Nice, fucking... See, I'm a drummer and I don't even know what the fucking term was. Was that a drag tap? Listen, I play the drums and my drum terminology is fucking shocking. Sounded like that was a drag tap that he did leading into that fill. That was pretty cool. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Keys? On my Zeppelin song? This honestly feels like it could be a disco song. It actually, you give this to like, to a disco band, it feels like they could do this song. And I don't mean that in a bad way, by the way. I mean that in a good way. This is doing that style so tastefully. I don't know. I feel like after the passing of Bonham, I feel like it was the right choice to leave the band there. They could have gone on with Phil Collins, but I don't feel like Phil Collins would have been a good fit. Yeah, he's a prog guy, you know? Yeah, it kind of is the perfect storm of all of the band members being perfect for each other. Yeah, all of the members of this band are kind of, they work perfectly together. It's kind of like a System of a Down situation, you know? Where all of them, it's 4 great musicians, you put them together, they make fucking Toxicity. But then I feel like if you take them apart or you add someone else in, no matter how good the other person is, if they don't mesh properly, it wouldn't work. I don't think Phil Collins would work for this because he's just stylistically such a different drummer. John Bonham's sort of standout is how large of a sound his drums have and how he finds little flourishes in the simplicity. He just adds little flourishes here and there that just sort of put a grin on your face. Whereas Phil Collins, he's a prog drummer that just goes fucking crazy over every song, you know? Anyway, Trampled Underfoot. Another 10 for me, honestly. Trampled Underfoot is fucking amazing. That song blended the funkiness of House of the Holy, I guess of the song House of the Holy as well, and just ironed out all of the kinks. It felt like a much better paced song. It felt like it took all of its time to be fully fleshed out. It used every single second to the best of its ability. Its presentation was a lot larger. It was a lot more impactful, a lot more intense than the previous song, I feel like. It legit felt like them doing a disco song just being put through the Led Zeppelin machine, you know? It felt like their attempt at disco, and that's so fucking fun. I love how much fun they're having on this album. They are just trying a bunch of different shit out and doing it with the same level of mastery and musical prowess that they had on a Zeppelin 2 and a Zeppelin 4. This is such an impressive album so far, man. And up next, Kashmir. You know, I've heard Kashmir. I know this song is great. This is, I think, outside of Custard Pie, I think this is the only song I've heard on this album. Next track, final track of side 1, Kashmir. Just drops you right in. I guess that is an interesting question to ask, yeah. Asking what could have been. But I don't know. This part's gonna get me some shit for saying this, but the general reception of the band after this album, we're up here and then it just goes. We dive right down. People don't like the band's final 2 albums. I mean, they're not too negatively received, but compared to the rest of the band's music, Presence and In Through the Outdoor, people just don't like them. And I feel like continuing with, again, another person in the band besides John Bonham, I don't know. I don't think they would have been able to recapture the spark. No way, Presence is great. Again, I've not heard it yet. That's not me saying what my opinion on the song is. Oh, sorry, on the albums are, because I've not heard them yet. It's just based on general reception from what I'm seeing. People just don't seem to like those 2 albums. Presence is the one with Achilles' Last Stand on it, isn't it? Yeah, Achilles' Last Stand is the fucking opener to Presence. Yeah, that song's pretty incredible. We're gonna get to that when we get there anyway. The haters are playing wrong. Yeah, but we're also talking about, these are the same people that love Zeppelin's other stuff. I feel like the negative reception comes from the band's most, like, dedicated fans. That's the thing. Albums being negatively received to that degree, it means that it's also the fans, you know? Yeah, they're working in some, like, phaser effects on this song that are really cool. Again, ambitious for the 70s. I respect the hell out of it. As the sun fills the ground. Didn't we try and watch one of the Live from Nebworth performances on stream before? This cold is still killing me, by the way. It's not great. I mean, the song literally sounds like an entire army marching onto a fucking battlefield, dude. It's so, like, the way that they portray Scope through the production and the instrumental choices is incredible. Very raspy performance there. He's liking the sextuplet fills on this album. Yeah, the phaser on the drums, that's great. That song ending in a fade out, I don't know, considering it's the final song on disc 1, I don't know how I feel about that ending in a fade out. I kinda wish that song had a bit of a bigger finish. What's the best Zeppelin album? Up to this point, in my opinion, Zeppelin 4. I think Zeppelin 4 is a literal masterpiece, near perfect. 0 exactly. The song's still great. I've heard this song plenty of times, and it's still just as great as every single time I've heard it. Again, it just feels like being in the middle of this massive army just sort of marching onto a battlefield. You've got all of this massive, huge drum sounds coming from John Bonham. The guitars and the effects on the guitars are just so, they sound so twisted, so fucked. They add such just an interesting texture to this track that I think brings it up a bunch. The sort of, I don't know if they actually have strings on this song or if it's a guitar with effects on it. Same with the horns throughout this track. But again, they make it, again, feel like just this massive force just moving slowly towards something, and it builds so much tensity. There is so much movement to this track. And again, I think the pacing is fantastic for an 8.5-minute song to close out disc 1. This is another high 9 for me, like a 9.7 to a 9.8. Amazing shit. Seriously, the song is damn near perfect in my eyes. Yes, the stairway riff is how you get kicked out of a music shop, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching part 1 of this video. Yeah, this album's great so far. Real quick, before we move on to part 2, I will add up my scores and I will say what my score for the first disc of this album is. My score for the first disc of this album is a 9.5, and as just a 40-minute album, I think I would place this in second place, just above Zeppelin 2 and just below Zeppelin 4. Amazing shit, seriously. The first half of this album is living up to the hype. Seriously, this is just such a gripping, intense, very thrilling first disc to this album, and I'm excited to see what they do on the second half. Thank you guys for watching part 1. Let me know what you think of the first half of this album down below. Make sure you like and subscribe on our way to 2K. Links in the description to my Discord, my album of the year, my Twitter, and my second channel. Check those out if you haven't. And yeah, I'll see you all in part 2. Bye bye.